Welcome back to Flashpoint. This week, North Carolina Congresswoman Alma Adams endorsing Joe Biden for president. In a tweet, she said, quote, "I want you to hear it from me. I'm endorsing Joe Biden to be the next president of the United States. Joe can win in 2020 and put it into the most disastrous presidency in our lifetimes." Congresswoman Adams is the 16th Congressional Black Caucus member to support Biden. And then just past Friday, the latest poll from NBC News and the Wall Street Journal finding Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders almost tied at the top of the Democratic field. Sanders gets 27% of the Democratic primary voters around the country, while Biden gets 26%, so statistically a tie. Elizabeth Warren is the only other Democrat registering in the double digits, 15%. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Evidently, all that money he's spending is evidently working. Now placing fourth place, not bad considering he just got into the race. Right. He's at 9%. The new survey marks a 6-point gain for Sanders in the last month. I tell you, it's all about when you peak in these primaries. Dibble, I'll start with you. Your reaction to seeing some of those numbers, because we should say the North Carolina primary is just a little more than a month away because it's early this year.
I think it shows that voters appreciate authenticity. And you see some of that authenticity in presidential candidates that are doing really well, especially the ones that are leading in the polls. When it comes to Congresswoman Adams endorsing Joe Biden, I know that they have had a long friendship, and hence she had endorsed Joe Biden for presidency.
Have you endorsed anybody? Are you going to endorse somebody?
No, I'm going to support whoever is the Democratic nominee.
I'm safe.
I do have two of my favorite presidential candidates, but I got to support whoever is the nominee.
You look at polling here in North Carolina. Again, we're about a month out from our primary. It shows Joe Biden. It's very reflective sort of that, but it does show Joe Biden with a lead. Do you feel like he's the guy to beat here when it comes to the Democratic primary?
I think if you're going to put money on one of the top four, Biden's the safe bet. You look at Bernie Sanders. He polls really well, but he polls well among the under 35 set, which is great. But the under 35 cohort doesn't turn out and vote as much as the older demographics. So I think that Sanders has, and plus the establishment in the Democratic Party does not care for Sanders, as evidenced by 2016. So I think that Sanders has some built-in issues with his campaign moving forward to being the nominee compared to Biden. I think the real dark horse candidate is Bloomberg in fourth place. He's spending tens of millions of dollars. And some might say, well, he's only at 9%. But if they go into the convention with a brokered convention that could go on ballot after ballot after ballot after ballot, he could actually wind up being the last man standing, so to speak, or last man standing, and seeing if how Warren does.
You know, I talked to one of his aides last week, and he is making a concentrated push on Charlotte, North Carolina, several of the swing states, and they make it clear he's willing to spend the money.
Yes.
And he has the money to spend. And he has this money to spend.
He has a very strong presence. I have seen his hires that he has locally hired. I mean, his campaign has invested so much money locally and into our state. Other strong presence I see, also Senator Warren. She also has shown very strong presence in North Carolina. So certainly, I think all the presidential candidates are looking at North Carolina to give them that boost.
Well, it's cool because for the first time in a long time, we're going to likely have a say because we're in Super Tuesday with about 14 other states. South Carolina's primary is only a few days before ours is. And so it's giving us sort of an outsized say than we typically have. Do we think Buttigieg is out at this point?
Well, you never know because the number still fluctuates. You might see that as closer to March 3rd, you might see numbers a little bit different. So you never know at this point, and hence, I always tell Democrats that whoever is the nominee, we have to support that nominee.
If you were consulting the DNC, that's not going to happen. Who makes you the happiest to see, as far as like, we could beat that person, or who makes you worry the most?
I think I would look at either Bloomberg or Biden as the presidential nominee and Mayor Pete as the VP pick.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you, guys. More Flashpoint after this.